We're here in Manchester to bring you a picture of what Manchester is like socially, politically, and a new poll indicates that Boris Johnson could be in hot water because the soaring cost of living is losing him voters ahead of next month's local elections. Now, we've got political commentator Stephen Carlton-Woods here to tell us more about this. So you're a Manc born and bred, Stephen?
I certainly am, yes.
Where are you from, and tell me how your area has changed with this gentrification, with this... You know.
Well, it is a gentrification,
yeah.
You've got it right there. Well, I come from a suburb called Didsbury, which is about 3 miles in that direction over there. And where I come from, it was terraced houses.
Yeah.
With, we had the old brick air raid shelters out the back.
Yeah. Outside loo.
A coal bunker outside loo with a tin bath hung behind the door.
Yeah. But you couldn't buy one for love nor money now, I would have thought.
It's out of my price range.
Yeah.
You're talking about £400,000 for a house there now, and no space. Where the house I live in now is like 5 times bigger and only worth half as much.
So how do you reconcile that with the growth, with the employment, with the reputation that Manchester is getting? I mean, there always has to be room for working people to live in their own town.
The problem is, like people like myself are priced out of areas where we grew up. There's a lot of media people could have lived in there, pushed the house prices up, and it's seen as a very affluent area.
We should say this is a media hub. This is a media hub for ITV.
Well, we've got Media City just over the back of you there.
The BBC as well. And even when I lived here, Richard and Judy used to live in Didsbury.
That's right, yes.
Where you're from.
Just round the corner from me.
Yeah.
My brother's wife lived next door to them.
No wonder you couldn't afford to live there once they moved in. So tell us politically how Manchester is controlled. So Labour, Andy Burnham, he's the man, he's the mayor.
He's the mayor of Greater Manchester.
Right.
So the council area of Manchester is quite different. There's 10 boroughs around Greater Manchester, and there's only one controlled by the Conservative Party, that's over in Bolton, but all the rest are controlled by Labour.
What went wrong and when did it go wrong for the Conservatives?
I would say, well, we've not had a Conservative elected councillor for like 28 years in Manchester, and it was the time of Margaret Thatcher, and obviously we had just before the Thatcher era, we had the winter of discontent. Everyone went on strike. I remember my school closing down for about three months, and then when Mrs Thatcher came in, there was this hatred all of a sudden with the miners' strike and all that lot, and it sort of escalated. So Conservatives can be a dirty word in Manchester in some areas.
Forgotten then, I suppose, and that's what you know. You talk about Bolton being held by the Conservatives, and you wonder.
Well, we had Trafford for many years, but held by the Conservative Party, and then that was lost a few years ago, and we've just seen that go into decline.
Look, you've got a situation now, this whole cost of living crisis, right? There was disappointment with the Chancellor last week, people thinking he had a chance to show that he could do something about this, that he could help ordinary working people. I suspect he hasn't done him, or indeed the Conservatives, come these local government elections, any good.
Well, the thing is, if we look at what we've been faced with as a nation for the last 2 years, we start off with a pandemic, and the way the mainstream media portray the whole thing, we've had a crisis every month all the way through this for 2 years, really. We had PPE shortage early on. We had empty shelves, which was a result of the crisis about lorry drivers and things like that. We had education and exams, and the list goes on. We had riots as well for a short start time, with people tearing statues down and people defending statues. So there's a lot of things gone on. The interesting thing, this all started, I suppose, when they really turned on the government on a narrative with Dominic Cummings when he went to test his eyesight for 30 miles, and we've had a knock-on effect from that. But when we look at today, and the latest thing being the cost of living crisis, because everything has gone up all of a sudden for many different reasons, and to point the finger at the government and say, you know, this is the government's fault, this is political shenanigans from other parties, really, again trying to score political points just to get, you know, try and win a few votes over.
It's still not a good look.
Oh, no, it's not, no. But what can the Chancellor do? He's between the rock and a hard place. He can't do right for wrong. Everyone's going to, whatever he does, he's going to be criticised.
So Manchester is not going to go blue anytime soon, is that what you're saying?
The current situation in Manchester, we've got 93 Labour councillors. we've got 2 Lib Dems and 1 Green. And from the figures I'm aware of, it's very unlikely to be returning a Conservative councillor.
Despite that, what is it like to live in Greater Manchester, to live in the city that you do?
Well, the first good thing for me, we've got the greatest football team in the area, which is Manchester City.
What? I think this interview's over.
On that one, yeah. So I'm a lifelong City fan. I was there at the cup final, at the playoff final against Gillingham, when there was minutes to go and we're 2-0 down, and then we got the equaliser and then won on penalties.
But it's amazing what the transformation of City has done. These 2 teams, I mean, United historically, City moving out of Main Road and whatever, and what they've created and what they have done as well for their local community in a desert sort of area.
Yeah, well, don't forget, this happened before the big money came in as well.
Yeah.
I think Francis Lee was chairman at Manchester City when they decided to give up Main Road and then move to a new build, because that was the opportunity that arose from doing the Commonwealth Games. And there was a nice new stadium there.
Was that those Commonwealth Games?
It was a long time ago, you know. Wasn't it? Yeah,
that was when they called it the Council House, wasn't it? Because it was owned by the council.
Well, it still is owned by the council. They lease it. I think it's on. And they tried to buy the lease off, and the council wouldn't sell it, and they offered a considerable amount.
But it is hard to quantify, to say to people what a vibrant football club. And here we've got 2, and you could count Salford FC as well in all of that. What it does to an area. I mean, these hotels, you can't get a hotel on a match day in this city. And the spill-on effect...
Well, that's only on United match days, because Mancunians support Manchester City.
Got me there, got me there. Well, it's great talking to you anyway, Stephen. Stephen Carlton-Woods. And how would you describe your job? You are chairman of... Altrincham
Community Media, yeah. So we have quite a few students from Salford Uni, media students. This week we've got a TV journalist doing a master's degree.
Oh,
so
that's what we need to do. We need.
Also called Isabel.
Oh, really?
Is that right?
Yes.
You could maybe be lecturers.
Never been seen in the same room.
Respectability, something like that. Stephen, thanks for talking to us. Really appreciate it.
It's a nice change to come in the studio as well. Yeah.
It is.